The house is quiet at dawn. The light is still soft. The world has not yet begun its rush. And there you are, standing by the window, watching your children move through their busy lives. Calls to answer, places to be, problems to solve. And somewhere, beneath the stillness of that morning cup of tea, a thought rises. Quietly, like a stone dropping into still water. Am I becoming a burden to them? Perhaps you have already felt it the moment you hesitated to ask for help. The moment you smiled and said, "I'm fine," when you weren't. The slow, exhausting work of shrinking yourself so others don't have to carry you. That weight is real. And you are not broken for feeling it. But here is what Buddhist wisdom gently offers us this morning. Aging is a natural law. The Buddha called it anicca, the truth that all things change, including this body, including this chapter of life. That is not a flaw. That is simply the river, flowing as it must. Being a burden, however, is not a law. It is a state of mind. And a state of mind can be transformed. Today, we will walk together through 7 habits, small, quiet shifts that can help you age not as a weight on others, but as a source of light. Habit 1. Master the second arrow. Suffering is optional. There is a teaching the Buddha offered one afternoon to a group of monks. He asked, "If a person is struck by an arrow, does it hurt?" "Of course," they said, "it hurts." "And if that same person is struck by a second arrow in the exact same spot, does it hurt more?" "Immeasurably more," they answered. Then he said quietly, "The second arrow is the one we fire at ourselves." Here is what that means for you, right now, in this season of life. You wake up and your knees ache. Your hands are a little slower. You forget a name you used to know instantly. Maybe you need help opening a jar, something that 10 years ago took no thought at all. That is the first arrow. It is real. It lands. It hurts. But then, almost immediately, the mind reaches for a second one. This shouldn't be happening to me. I used to be so capable. What will my children think? This is only going to get worse. And suddenly, the aching knee is no longer just an aching knee. It has become evidence. Evidence that you are declining, that you are losing, that the best of life is behind you. That, my friend, is the second arrow. And unlike the first, this one you have a choice about. The Buddha was not teaching that pain doesn't exist. He was never that naive. He lived in a body. He knew what it meant to be tired, to be ill, to watch the people he loved suffer. What he was pointing to was something more subtle. The difference between pain and the story we build around pain. Physical discomfort is the first arrow. It arrives without asking permission. But the argument with life, the exhausting inner protest that says, "This is wrong, this is unfair, this should not be," that is the second arrow. And most of the heaviness we carry in old age is not the weight of the body. It is the weight of that argument. I think of a woman I once heard described someone's grandmother in her late 70s who had arthritis in both hands. She could no longer sew, which had been her joy for 50 years. And every morning she would look at her hands and grieve not just the pain, but the person she felt she was no longer allowed to be. 2 arrows, landing in the same place, every single day. The shift is not about pretending the first arrow didn't hit. It is about not picking up the second one. When the body aches, when a limitation appears, when you catch yourself needing something you once did easily, I invite you to try this. Pause, take one slow breath, and say quietly, without forcing anything, "This is what is here right now." Not "this is fine." Not "I am grateful for this pain." Just "this is what is here right now." That small phrase does something remarkable. It stops the argument. It doesn't deny the discomfort. It simply refuses to add the second layer of suffering on top of it. The first arrow still lands, but you put down the second one. And in that putting down, even just for a moment, you will notice something unexpected. A little space, a little quiet, a little room to breathe. That space is not weakness. That space is where dignity lives. Habit 2. Lay down the fixer identity. You are not the role you played. Let me ask you something personal. When someone asks, "Who are you?" what is the first thing that comes to mind? For most people who have lived a full life, the answer arrives quickly and quietly, almost without thinking. I am the one who takes care of things. I am the one my family depends on. I am the provider, the protector, the one who holds it all together. These were not small roles. You earned them. You showed up for them for decades, through difficult mornings and impossible seasons. You carried things so others didn't have to. That was real. That mattered. But here is the question no one asks out loud. What happens when that role no longer fits the way it used to? The Buddha taught a principle called Anatta, often translated as non-self. It sounds abstract, even a little unsettling at first. But strip away the philosophy, and what it is really pointing to is surprisingly practical. You are not a fixed thing. You are a flowing process, like a river. The river you stood beside 10 years ago is not the same water. Not one drop of it remains, and yet we still call it the same river. We still recognize it. It is still beautiful. The water changed. The river remained. You are the river, not any single drop. Here is where the suffering enters. When we cling to a past identity, I am the fixer, the provider, the one who never needed help, and then life changes, as life always does. There is a particular kind of exhaustion that sets in, not physical tiredness, something stranger than that. It is the exhaustion of wearing a coat that no longer fits, but refusing to take it off because you have worn it for so long, you forgot there was a person underneath it. I once heard a man in his early 80s describe it this way. His children were visiting for a family dinner, and they were handling everything. The cooking, the arrangements, the decisions. And he sat at the table feeling, in his words, like a guest in my own life. Not because his family had pushed him aside, but because he had built his entire sense of worth around being the one who did things. And now that the doing had shifted, he didn't know who he was without it. That confusion, that quiet grief, is what happens when identity and role become the same thing. The shift the Buddha invites is not erasure. You do not have to pretend those years didn't happen or that the role didn't matter. You are simply being asked to hold it a little more loosely, to remember that you wore the coat, but you are not the coat. So here is the micro practice I want to offer you today. Find a quiet moment, morning is good, before the day fills in. Close your eyes and imagine that heavy coat, the provider, the fixer, the one who held everything together. See it clearly, its weight across your shoulders, the way it shaped how you walked, how you spoke, how you measured your own worth. And then, very gently, imagine slipping it off, not throwing it away, not rejecting it, just setting it down beside you and sitting for a moment in the quiet of who you are without it. You may feel a little cold at first. That is normal. Unfamiliar things feel strange, but underneath that coat there is still someone there, still present, still worthy, still enough. Habit 3. Practice right speech with your soul. The story you tell becomes the life you live. There is something I want you to notice today, not dramatically, just notice. The next time you are with family or a neighbor or an old friend, listen to what fills the conversation. For many people in this season of life, the pattern is remarkably consistent. My back has been terrible this week. The doctor says, my blood pressure is still too high. I can't do what I used to. Everything takes so much longer now. Nobody really understands what it's like. And the other person nods and offers their own list in return. There is nothing cruel in this. These things are real. The body does ache. The limitations are genuine. And we reach for shared pain the way we reach for familiar ground, because at least someone else understands. But here is what the Buddha noticed 2,500 years ago, and what modern psychology is only now beginning to confirm. The stories we repeat become the walls we live inside. In the Eightfold Path, the Buddha placed Samavaka right speech as one of the 8 foundations of a liberated life. Not because words are merely polite or impolite, but because he understood something deep about the human mind. We do not just describe our experience with words, we shape it. Every time you say, I am always in pain, even if it is partly true, the mind files it away as identity, not as a passing condition, as a permanent address. Every time you say, I can't anymore, something in the nervous system relaxes into that story, stops reaching, stops exploring what might still be possible. The words become a verdict, and we start living inside the verdict. I remember reading about an elderly teacher, a retired schoolmaster in his late 70s, who made one small rule for himself after his wife passed away and his health began to decline. He decided he was allowed to mention a physical complaint once per conversation, just once. After that, he would redirect, not because he was denying the reality of his pain, but because he had noticed, with quiet honesty, that talking about it more than once never made it better. It only made it louder. He said it changed his relationships entirely. People began to enjoy being around him again. And this is the part that surprised him most. He began to enjoy being himself again. Right speech is not about performing cheerfulness. That would be toxic positivity, and the Buddha had no patience for that. It is about something more honest, choosing not to cement suffering with repetition. There is a difference between acknowledging pain and narrating it on a loop. One is honest, the other builds a prison, one word at a time. And right speech extends inward too. The voice inside your head, the one that runs commentary all day long, that voice needs tending as well. I'm such a burden. I'm falling apart. What's even the point? These are second arrows, fired quietly, relentlessly at yourself. So here is the practice I gently offer you. Each morning, before the day begins, before the aches register, before the list of what's wrong arrives, place one hand on your chest. Feel the warmth there, the simple fact of a heart still beating, and say quietly, just for yourself, today, may my words be gentle. May my presence bring ease, not a demand, not a performance, just a direction, a quiet compass setting for the day. You are not erasing difficulty. You are simply choosing not to give it the last word. Habit 4. Stop trying to hold the wind. Releasing control is not giving up, it is growing up. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Your son makes a decision you wouldn't have made, a financial choice, maybe, or who he spends his time with, or how he is raising your grandchildren. You don't say anything, not directly. But something in your chest tightens. You lie awake, running through the scenarios. You rehearse conversations that haven't happened. You carry a low, constant hum of worry that never quite turns off. Or perhaps it is your daughter. She works too hard. She doesn't eat well. She never slows down. And you watch from a careful distance, wanting desperately to fix something she hasn't asked you to fix. This is one of the quietest forms of suffering in later life, and almost nobody talks about it honestly, because it doesn't look like suffering, it looks like love. The Buddha taught that the root of anxiety is almost always the same thing, the mind reaching for control over what it was never meant to hold. There is a beautiful image in the Dhammapada, the idea that a person who grasps at the world is like someone trying to hold a fistful of water. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. Or, think of it this way. Have you ever stood on a beach and tried to hold the wind? You can feel it. You know it is real. You can see what it does to the trees, the waves, the surface of things, but you cannot hold it. And the exhaustion is not from the wind. The exhaustion is from the reaching. Here is what the Buddha was pointing toward, practically speaking. There are two categories in life. What is yours? Your attitude, your effort, your response, the quality of love you offer, how you choose to spend this day. What is not yours? Other people's choices, the future, outcomes you cannot predict, the paths your children decide to walk. Most of our anxiety lives in the second category. We know this. Somewhere. And yet the mind keeps returning to it like pressing a bruise to see if it still hurts. I think of a grandmother I once read about, 73 years old, sharp and warm, who had spent 15 years quietly managing her adult children's lives from a distance, worrying about the right schools for her grandchildren, losing sleep over her son's career, offering advice that was rarely asked for and rarely followed. One day, her youngest daughter said to her, gently but clearly, "Mum, we know you love us, but your worry doesn't protect us. It just makes you suffer more." She said it stopped her completely, not because it was harsh, because it was true. The worry had never once changed an outcome. It had only changed her. So here is the practice. The next time anxiety rises about your children, about the future, about something beyond your hands, pause before the spiral begins. Ask yourself one question, honestly. Is this mine to control? Sit with the answer. Don't rush it. If the answer is yes, act. Do what you can. Bring your full presence and effort to it. But if the answer is no, and most of the time, if we are honest, the answer is no, then try this. Open your hand, palm facing upward. Imagine holding a small fistful of sand. Feel its weight. Feel the grains pressing into your skin. And then, slowly, let your hand relax. Watch the sand fall. Not because you don't care, but because love that clings is not love, it is fear wearing love's clothing. The river flows where it needs to flow. Your work is not to redirect it. Your work is to stand on the bank present, steady, and at peace. Habit 5. Cultivate Metta. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Here is a question most people in this season of life have never been asked. Not by their children, not by their doctors, not even by themselves. When was the last time you were genuinely kind to yourself? Not to your family, not to a neighbor who needed something, not to the grandchildren who wanted your time and energy, to yourself. For many people, especially those who have spent decades caring for others, that question lands in a strange, uncomfortable place. Almost like being caught doing something wrong. I don't need to be kind to myself. That's selfish. There are people with real problems. Who am I to complain? I should be grateful for what I have. And so, the inner life gets put last. Again, as it has been put last for 30, 40, 50 years. And slowly, so slowly, You barely notice it happening. Something begins to harden, not loudly, not dramatically. Just a quiet bitterness that settles in, like damp getting into old walls. The Buddha taught a practice called metta loving kindness. It is one of the oldest and most carefully preserved teachings in the entire tradition. And what most people don't know is this: the practice always begins with yourself, not with your children, not with strangers, not even with the people you love most, with yourself first. This was not accidental. The Buddha understood something about human nature that we still resist accepting. You cannot genuinely offer warmth from a place of coldness. You cannot nourish others from an empty cup. You cannot light a room from an unlit lamp. The metaphor is old, but the truth inside it is not. I once heard a woman describe her mother, a woman who had given everything to her family her entire life, cooked every meal, attended every school event, solved every problem she could reach. Never once, her daughter said, did she ever seem to do anything just for herself. And by the time she was in her 70s, something had shifted. She had become, and this was her daughter's word, said with real sadness, brittle, quick to take offense, quietly resentful, withdrawn, not because she was a difficult person, but because the lamp had been burning for decades, with no one, including herself, ever thinking to refill it. Her daughter said, "I think she gave so much, for so long, without ever receiving even from herself, that there was simply nothing left." Metta is the refilling. It is not self-indulgence. It is not ignoring others' needs. It is the quiet, necessary act of tending your own inner life, so that what you offer the world comes from fullness, not from depletion, not from obligation, not from fear. A lamp with oil does not hoard its light. It simply shines naturally, steadily, without effort. So, here is the practice. And I want you to take it seriously, even if it feels a little strange at first. Tomorrow morning, before the day makes its demands, find a quiet place. Sit comfortably. Place one hand gently on your chest. Feel the warmth of your own palm. Feel the steady rise and fall beneath it. And whisper. You don't need to say it aloud. Just let the words move through you. May I be safe. Pause. Breathe. May I be peaceful. Pause. Breathe. May I live with ease. Don't rush it. Don't analyze it. Don't judge whether you deserve it. Just allow it. You have spent so many years wishing safety and peace for the people you love. Today, for just one moment, include yourself in that circle. Habit 6. The generosity of presence. Your stillness is a gift the world desperately needs. There is a particular fear that arrives quietly in later life. Not the fear of pain, not even the fear of death. It is the fear of becoming irrelevant. The fear that one day your children will be too busy to call. That the grandchildren will have their own lives, their own screens, their own worlds you cannot quite enter. That the circle of people who genuinely need you will grow smaller, year by year, until one morning you wake up and wonder, what do I actually contribute anymore? This fear is more common than anyone admits. And it is worth sitting with honestly, not to feed it, but to examine what it is really asking, because underneath that fear is a belief. A belief so deeply embedded, most people have never questioned it. That value comes from doing, and when the doing slows naturally, inevitably, as it does for all of us, the belief says, you are worth less now. The Buddha taught a principle called dana, generosity. It is considered the very first foundation of the spiritual path, the starting point of everything. But dana, in its deepest form, is not only about giving money or time or effort. The highest form of dana, the teachers say, is the gift of abhaya, the gift of fearlessness, of safety, of peace. In other words, the gift of your presence. Think for a moment about the people in your own life who have mattered most, not necessarily the ones who did the most for you, not the most competent or the most successful or the most resourceful, but the ones who, when you were in the same room as them, you felt somehow calmer, safer, less alone with whatever you were carrying. Maybe it was a grandparent, maybe a quiet neighbor, maybe an old teacher who didn't say much, but whose steadiness you still remember decades later. That quality, that calm, that groundedness is not nothing. It is perhaps the rarest thing one human being can offer another. I read once about an elderly man, 81 years old, hard of hearing, moved slowly, who sat in the same chair at his daughter's house every Sunday. He didn't cook anymore, couldn't drive, sometimes fell asleep after lunch. But his daughter said something that stayed with me. She said, "When Dad is in the room, my children behave differently. They slow down. They argue less. Even the dog is calmer." She laughed when she said it. But she wasn't joking. His presence, not his productivity, not his advice, not his capability, his simple, settled, unhurried presence was changing the atmosphere of the room. That is dana. That is generosity in its most refined form. A turbulent river cannot reflect the sky clearly, but a still lake, even a small one, can hold the entire sky in its surface. You do not need to be large. You do not need to be loud. You do not need to produce anything. You only need to be still. So here is the practice. The next time you are with the people you love, a family meal, a phone call, a quiet afternoon visit, try this one small shift. Listen more than you speak, not as a performance of patience, not while mentally preparing your response, but genuinely, curiously, with your full, unhurried attention. Let them feel, perhaps for the first time in a very busy day, that someone is truly, completely present with them. No agenda, no advice unless asked, no quiet urgency pulling you elsewhere. Just the calm lake, just the still surface, open and clear. You may be surprised to find that what people remember about you, long after the meals you cooked, the problems you solved, the things you built, is simply the feeling of being near you. That feeling is not small. That feeling is everything. Habit 7. Return to the eternal now. Home has always been here. The mind of an older person carries a great deal, not because something is wrong with it, but because it has lived. It holds decades of memories, decades of worry, decades of love and loss and unfinished things. And so it travels, constantly, back to something that happened 20 years ago, a conversation that went wrong, a decision you wish you'd made differently, a person you miss with a specific physical ache, or forward into futures that haven't arrived yet. Will my health hold? Will my children be all right? What happens when I can no longer manage on my own? The mind moves between these two places, past and future, like a person pacing between two rooms, never quite settling in either one. And here is what the Buddha noticed. Neither room contains peace. Peace was never in the past. Peace was never in the future. Peace has only ever been available in one place. Here, this moment, this breath, this exact, ordinary, unremarkable now. There is a simple teaching often attributed to the Buddha that I keep returning to. The past is already gone. The future has not yet come. There is only one moment for you to live, and that is this one. It sounds almost too simple. The kind of thing you read on a calendar and move past without really letting it land. But sit with it for a moment. How much of your suffering right now, today, is actually happening in this moment? Not the memory of it. Not the anticipation of it. In this actual moment, more often than not, when we look honestly, the answer is very little. The pain in the body, yes. That is present, but the heaviness, the weight that makes ordinary mornings feel exhausting before they have even begun that weight is usually borrowed from somewhere else in time. I once read about a meditation teacher, an older woman, somewhere in her late 70s, who was asked by a student how she managed to seem so calm given everything she had been through. She had lost her husband. Her health was fragile. Her world had grown considerably smaller than it once was. She thought about it for a moment. Then she said, "I stopped trying to live in all the years at once. I only try to live in today. And if today is too much, I only try to live in this hour. And if that is too much, just this breath." The student asked, "Doesn't that feel like giving up?" She shook her head. "No," she said. "It feels like finally coming home." The present moment is not dramatic. That is why we overlook it. The mind prefers the past and future because they are full of story, conflict, meaning, stakes, unresolved things to think about. The present moment is quieter. It does not announce itself. It is just the warmth of a cup of tea between your palms, the feeling of your feet resting on the floor, the soft sound of the morning before anyone else is awake. These things seem small. And they are small, but they are also real. Completely, undeniably real. Unlike the futures we fear or the pasts we replay, this warmth, this floor, this breath is actually here. So here is the practice. And it is perhaps the simplest of everything we have explored today. When you notice the mind has traveled and it will travel, that is what minds do. Don't fight it. Don't scold yourself for being somewhere else. Just find an anchor, something physical, something present. The warmth of your tea, the feeling of your feet on the floor, the air moving in and out of your nose, the weight of your hands resting in your lap. Let that sensation be a door, and walk back through it, back into this room, this light, this quiet, ordinary moment that, when you look at it closely enough, contains everything you actually need. Worry lives in the future. Regret lives in the past. But you live here. And here, when you truly arrive, is enough. There is a difference between a fruit that has fallen too soon and one that has been given time. The first is hard, bitter at the edges. It did not fail. It simply was not ready. The second, the one that stayed on the branch through the rains and the winds and the slow turning of seasons, that one is something else entirely. Soft, full, patient with its own sweetness. That is what aging can be, when we stop mistaking it for decline, not a falling away. A ripening. You do not need to master all 7 habits today. You do not need to arrive anywhere in particular by nightfall. The Buddha never asked for perfection. He only ever asked for one thing: return, again and again, to this moment. When the second arrow rises, return. When the old coat feels too heavy, set it down. When the words begin to harden, soften them. When the hands reach for the wind, open them. When the cup feels empty, refill it gently, starting with yourself. When the room needs stillness, be the lake. And when the mind travels to places it cannot change, come home. This breath, this warmth, this quiet, ordinary, irreplaceable now. You are not a burden. You are a person who has carried much, loved deeply, and is still learning how to live. That is not weakness. That is one of the most courageous things a human being can do. May you let go of what you cannot control. May you walk forward lightly, and may each day ahead feel a little less like surviving and a little more like living. If these words found you at the right moment, if something here felt true, I would love to know. Leave the word free in the comments below. Just that one word. It tells me this reached you, and it helps more people who need this kind of quiet find their way here. And if you would like to continue this gentle journey, more Buddhist wisdom, more stillness, more of this, consider subscribing to this channel. We'll be here. Whenever you need to come home,